Hello YouTube audience, today is January the 9th, 2021 and I would like to work on this Camellia I have. This past summer I did a hard pruning, structural pruning of the tree, and it responded with explosion of growth, and now it is almost spring, it's still winter. I would like to do a follow-up, a pruning on the tree to contain the growth and prepare the plant for the spring growth. So I'm going to do some cleanup, prune off the unnecessary branches, and do some wiring even to get it in shape and prepare it for the spring growth. It's worth noting that not everybody is developing their trees for bonsai, and of course Camellia is most famous for its flower. So if the purpose is to have the flowers, you would ideally want to prune the tree right after it flowers and never prune it after that until it flowers the next year, because after you prune, the new branches are going to grow and the new branches are going to bear flowers, and if you prune again, you are going to lose those flowers, and if you prune too late, the flower is going to be delayed too. As you can see, this plant, now it should be the flowering time, but because I prune it in the middle of the summer, the bud is barely starting to form at this time. So if your purpose of having the Camellia is mainly to appreciate the flowers, you would not like to prune it too often. Maybe once a year, right after it flowers, prune it back, and that would be good. But for me, the purpose is different. The primary purpose is to develop this currently a bush, and to develop the form and make it more tree-like, and ideally ultimately transform it into a bonsai. So my primary goal here is to have a good branch structure, to place all the branches in its right place. So flowers, it will always flower as soon as it's properly developed. Then I can start letting it flower. Currently, I mainly focus on growing the branch structure, making the structures right and making it proportional and things like that. So if I prune it now, it's not going to flower very soon. It may flower next year, but I don't need it to flower at this point. It's also good for the development of the branches, because if a plant flowers, you need to put energy into flowering, and when it flowers, it normally doesn't grow much. So just want to make sure everybody understand my purpose and think about their purpose. If they want to see flowers, then don't prune it so often. So I'm going to do a spin so this tree actually can be viewed in both sides. The back and front are both very good viewing angles. So I'm going to, you see the front, the back. Here is the back, and I'm going to turn it one more time and then start working on it. Okay, I think we are back to the front. Okay, I'm going to start working on it from the bottom to the top. So first I would like to do some clean up on it. Okay, this way we can focus on the branch structure. So we can start with this branch. This is a pretty important branch. May even be the first branch. Let's see. So because I'm trying to develop this branch, I'm probably not going to prune it right now. I'm going to keep the majority of this branch and try to wire it first. So that's the, so a lot of times people think about the first branch as the most important branch, so I'm probably going to start with that. I'm going to wire this branch a little bit. Because this is the front, so I'm going to make the wire go from coming from the back of the tree without blocking too much of the front. So there is a bud here. I would try to not go right on the bud to preserve it. Okay, and then back, I'm going to anchor it to the branch on the back. Let's see. the branch is anchored, I can try to move it a little bit. So the main thing about this branch, I want to start bending it downward, which is quite natural for the deciduous branch to first go up and then go downward, especially when it is a branch in the lower portion of the plant. This could happen due to weight, but it's also important to understand that this could happen due to phototropism. In a broadleaf tree, when the light on the upper part of the tree was blocked by the leaves and branches above, the upper part of the tree is actually not bright inside of the canopy. It is actually brighter in the lower part of the canopy. So in the bottom part, you can see some branches that's growing not even just downward, but sometimes even vertically downward. So this is the effect that I'm trying to create. Which is the downward growing effect. So I'm trying to test if this wire is good enough for wiring the branch by pushing the wire against the branch, and you can see the wire is bended and without bending the branch, so the wire is not strong enough to hold the branch. And I'm also reusing wires. Seems this wire is strong enough for the lower branch. Okay, it's okay. So I'm going to do a second wiring. Because wiring is relatively boring, most people put it on time lapse, which I will try later, but Okay, since we are focusing on this branch, let's see if we can focus more on this branch. The branch I'm wiring.